I know that human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Hello and welcome to the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast. Here at Spoilt Milk, we like to discuss, destroy and dissect guilty pleasure movies and decide whether they're truly spoilt milk or if they've ascended into a fine, luxurious cheese. So without further ado, here we go.
Warning, this podcast is full of spoilers for the title feature and there's bad language from the start. If you've never seen the film or you're offended by bad language, you have been warned.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast, where today we're going to be talking about Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald?
I've entitled this Crimes of Big G.
Big G. So as always, we've got the Hobo here. You've just heard him. How are you, Hobo?
I'm homeful.
Homeful?
Yeah, it's a new word. It means I'm hopeful for a home.
Right, okay then. At this time of year, there's plenty of charities that you can mug.
Yeah, exactly.
And steal their money.
What I like to do is steal a couple of trees and then make a little tree teepee, a Christmas tree teepee.
Christmas tree teepee?
Yeah.
That's really hard to say.
Yeah, that is. Oh, and while you're talking, we've got Laura as well. How are you?
Hello, I'm very good, thank you.
When was the last time you were on Predator 2?
I think it was the one that I stopped watching.
What?
And then I put Bake Off on instead. I can't remember which one it was. And you weren't here.
No, I'd say Bake Off's better than Predator 2.
Yeah.
And I quite like Predator 2 as well. So we are here to talk about, Fantastic Beasts. Laura, you're a bit of a Potter...
Just a little bit.
Potterite?
I'm a Potter fan. I'm a Hufflepuff, more specifically.
Right, okay then. Would you class this as a Harry Potter film or just a Wizarding World film?
So I say to people, people at work, when I was going to see the midnight screening of Fantastic Beasts 2, I was saying, the new Harry Potter film, because not many people are fans of the amazing books and films. But to people that like the Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter, I do say them differently.
Right,
but
okay.
just in general, to dumb it down, not to offend anyone, I would say, the new Harry Potter films.
Do you refer to those people as muggles?
They are.
Or no madge?
It's muggles, it's not no madge.
No madge. What about can't spells? I liked that one.
I don't
Can't spell?
like
Who
that.
says that?
John Depp, at the end of this film, we're getting right to the
JD?
end, but he's like, muggles, no madge, can't spells. And there's another one in there that I can't remember.
Just makes him sound dyslexic.
Yeah, it
Can't
does.
spells.
Just for anyone listening as well and not seeing the live stream, Laura is dressed in her Hogwarts robe? Or is it?
My Hogwarts robe that's a Hufflepuffle robe.
Oh, Hufflepuffle robe.
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuffle.
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuffle.
And I got my Hufflepuff blanket in the background and my house colours going in the background.
And I've got slipper socks on. I don't know if they're
Ooh.
coming through.
Me too. Wait, I'm not going to lift my leg up, but...
But yeah, so instead of doing a top 3 before we talk about Harry Potter, I thought, because Laura is a Harry Potter mega fan, and Cham is a fan, if a little quiz.
No.
A little quiz.
Right, okay then.
Because Cham, you're always the one making the quizzes, rather than taking part in them.
I don't do well under pressure.
Under pressure.
I just got the wrong spell when I was trying to do the trick earlier before we were filming.
Is this a...
I'm not good at not good at spells. I'm not good at
can't spell. You're a can't spell.
Oh.
Is this a book-based?
No, movie-based.
Just movie.
Movie-based. So some of them I've said like specifically in the movie.
Do we need to buzz in or?
I don't know how to do this because I wasn't sure. Maybe the fact
I'm not
that...
impressed with you.
Well, I don't know. Maybe because you're saying you're not good at like quizzes in general, maybe that will take away the advantage that I perceive you to have over Cham.
Okay.
Right.
So maybe I'll just say...
Do we just throw an answer
What
in?
house are you? So obviously you're Hufflepuff, Laura. What house are you, Cham?
I am... Oh, this isn't a good start.
Well, what house do you want to be in? And did you do the Pottermore test?
I'm Gryffindor. I put the hat on at the Wizarding World. No, it's the one in Warner Brothers tour in
Yeah.
LA, I put the hat on. I forgot the name of the hat. That's not good.
The
sorting hat.
Yeah. And I'm Gryffindor. I haven't watched the Harry Potter films in at least a year. You watched them like last week.
It's been ages since I watched them.
So you're a Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Gryffindor.
whoever knows the answer,
Boo.
say your house name first before you answer, and wait until I acknowledge before you answer, so you don't give away the answer to the other person.
Okay.
Okay. So
Oh.
first one, and it's about Fantastic Beasts, so you should both be on an even level. The first Fantastic Beasts film opens with a well-known. Sorry, the first.
Boo!
So well known, he's forgotten it.
I've missed out a word on my own.
Noise it can't spell.
Muggle.
First Fantastic Beasts film opens with a well-known Harry Potter theme before transitioning into the Fantastic Beasts theme. What is the name of the
Gryffindor.
Harry Potter theme? Cham?
Is it Hedwig's theme?
It is Hedwig's
Oh,
theme.
see, I'm
or
so bad at this.
Hedwig's song.
Oh.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Damn you.
Okay.
One answer.
Okay. So, according to the films, when did Newt Scamander graduate from Hogwarts?
Hufflepuff.
Okay, Laura?
1922.
Wrong.
Ah!
Jam, do you wanna go on?
1921?
Wrong. This was a trick question.
He never...
didn't.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, he didn't, did he? He got kicked out of Hogwarts.
Yeah.
And Grindelwald says that in the first
Yeah, he
one.
does.
Which is why is Dumbledore so fond of you?
Mm.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I thought I'd just trip you up early on.
I hate
Question.
you.
It's a good question.
I want
Okay.
to leave.
In Fantastic Beasts, Newt reveals he was expelled from Hogwarts.
Oh, right.
By bringing in dangerous magical beasts and accidentally endangering lives. That was the reason. Who else does he share this backstory with in the Harry Potter universe?
Hufflepuff.
Laura?
Porpentina.
Oh, I don't know this. This
Tina.
isn't the answer I've got, but you may be, because I don't know Harry Potter. Explain.
Tina, the female in it.
The female in Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Why does she do the same thing?
No, he tells her about it. Have I misheard
Oh,
the
no,
question?
sorry. The question is, so Newt was expelled for bringing in a dangerous creature and accidentally endangering the lives of other students in Hogwarts.
Okay.
Who else in the Harry Potter universe?
Gryffindor.
Oh, my bad.
Is it Hagrid?
It is Hagrid.
I hate you guys. I'm so angry at myself.
It felt like you knew that once you
Yeah.
once
See,
I said
I'm
it
not good
again.
at quizzes. I don't do well at pub quizzes. I just drink at them.
Okay, in the Prisoner
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Thank you. In the Prisoner of Azkaban, Newt Scamander makes an appearance. Describe this. When is it?
Hufflepuff.
Laura?
He, I forgot.
I'll give you a hint. You don't see his face in any way.
Oh, it's a book. It's a book. It's, I don't know. Pass.
The answer is he appears in the Marauders map as one of the names walking around
nice.
Hogwarts.
I didn't know that.
Damn it. I was thinking of something else in...
Do you mean like the book appearing in the background somewhere, or?
No, just
Oh.
never mind. I'm being really bad at this.
I didn't ever got that.
I apologise to all the Harry
Well, I
Potter
purposely
and
made these-
Fantastic Beasts fans.
They don't want to hear your apologies.
I am a big fan. I was.
Okay, next question. Johnny Depp and Colin Farrell. So this is less of a Fantastic Beasts question and just a general film one. So Johnny Depp and Colin Farrell both play Grindelwald in the movie. The first movie, spoilers, by the way, for the first one. What other film have
I
they
knew you were
both
gonna
played the
ask
same character in?
I
I
know
don't
the
know.
film, I just don't know the title.
Have I seen it?
I imagine you have.
Have I watched it with you?
Gryffindor. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus?
Yes,
that
that
what
is
it's actually
correct.
called?
Yes. The
You
one.
are amazing. I
I didn't know if I was going to say what's the one about Wonder Emporium, Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. I thought I was going to say that.
No, because Heath Ledger died during filming of that, a few actors took up different roles, and they all donated their money from that film to Heath Ledger's kids.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
It's a nice moment for you. Now back to the
Horrible quiz.
Yeah, the cruel. No, I was going to say the cruel world of Harry Potter.
You nodded when I said horrible.
No,
so.
the quiz is good. All right. Next question, because I didn't put numbers next to these. What is the American equivalent to Hogwarts?
Hufflepuff. Ilvermorny.
Yes.
Oh, I want to
I
that one.
literally went to shout Hogwarts.
In an American accent. Hogwarts.
That's the answer.
What was it called?
Ilvermorny.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I had to remember how
They
that's
mention it,
pronounced.
don't they, in this
Yes.
one?
Yeah.
I know what house I'm in Ilvermorny as well.
Oh.
Ooh, that means you've been a traitor to your own house, surely.
No, I did the equivalent of what house I would technically be in.
Traitor.
Mm.
Okay, next question. There's only 2 left. I've got more, but I think we're going to run out of time. So,
I'm going to lose as well.
okay. Oh, there's 3
I think
left.
we're about
Sorry.
drawing, aren't we?
So, next question. What is Newt's middle name?
Oh,
Oh, you've got time on this one because it doesn't look like Cham knows it at all.
it begins with S, doesn't it? It doesn't. Oh, I don't know.
Gryffindor. Rageous.
What?
Rageous. Newt Rageous. That's got to be his name, right?
Newt
Newt
Rageous
Rageous.
Scamander.
Yeah.
Is that a play on words that I'm
Nope.
not getting? No.
I'm just going for something that sounds funny.
No. It's no.
No.
It's Artemis.
Oh, I did know that. I'm really disappointed.
I didn't.
Okay. Second to last question. Where does Queenie work in the Makusa?
Hufflepuff. She's a
No.
trolley dolly. She makes the coffees.
What area? What area are they in charge of? People in the
Are they
area?
doing the one permits?
Yes, that is correct.
So-
I wasn't sure
Holy
if
shit.
that was a.
It's good knowledge. I was going to go, who's Queenie again?
She's the one who will read your mind, and
Yeah, she's good.
She's so quirky. I love her in it.
I forgot.
I feel like her character just flirts with everyone, and that's her quirkiness.
She's great though. I would flirt with her back.
Final question, and it's for all the points.
Oh,
What?
Dick.
Actually got a couple of these.
Yeah. So, where is the Thunderbird native to?
Hufflepuff. That's my house, by the way, Thunderbird. It's a house in Ilvermorny, Thunderbird.
Okay.
And
Oh, if you don't have the answer, I'm going to have to throw
no,
over to Cham.
no.
Well, don't throw it over to me. I ain't got a clue. What's a
It's-
Thunderbird?
It's in America somewhere. Oh, I don't.
You can't call out unless you have
Gryffindor.
an answer.
Arizona.
It is.
I gave you that.
You did.
I
You
hate
really
you.
did.
What, by saying it's in America somewhere?
No, because the
I didn't know what it was until you said American. I was like, that thing.
Yeah. Well, Cham has won. In a surprise victory, I put on money with the bookers.
yeah, but my answers were more impressive with the questions I answered right.
I thought the Dr.
Like-
Parnassus one was good.
Yeah.
I put
I
the
hate you.
Dr. Parnassus one in as a, so I knew you'd get
Yeah,
it.
so I could, a pity point.
Yeah.
I'll get one.
But I have more, but we don't
I want to
have
do
time.
them. I demand we do them.
On that note, we'll call it time for our introduction. It's not a top 3, and we'll be back to talk about the crimes of Big G.
Big G.
Big G!
This is a break from the podcast. This isn't fake, it is real. Grab a biscuit, a Kit Kat, or toffee, maybe some Mosa.
Hello and welcome back to part 1 of this fantastical, special, magical episode of the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast, where today we're talking about Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald. Have you replied? How are you saying it?
Grindelwald.
Are you saying Wald?
Mhm.
Is that how you imagine JK says it?
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, do we have to imagine how? Could we not look up a video of how she says it?
It's just because loads of people in the film said it differently. So Dumbledore said Vold, and then Newt said Wald.
Maybe that's just because, like any name, people always say a name differently.
Then Dumbledore did know Grindelwald from a young age. Maybe that was how it was originally said.
When he was on Graham Norton, he corrected Eddie Redmayne and said Vold. So maybe because it sounds like Voldemort.
There's no connection to them, though, is there?
Just through being bad.
They do meet, though, in Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Do they?
You know, in the prison, in Azkaban, when he's asking right at the end where the Elder Wand is.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's with him. And that's Grindelwald in Azkaban in prison.
He's like a bald old man in a jail cell.
That might be a bit of a spoiler. Because if he's going to die in like a later film, I bet he's not going to die because he's in the prison. Oh, damn it. Right, okay then. So this film, it's kind of come off the back of the original Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which was based on a small comic relief book.
It was an instruction book. So it was like J.K. Rowling, when she first wrote it, she put the author as Newt Scamander. And it's just like what he mentions in the first film where he's like, I'm writing a book on how to look after animals and beasts.
So, Hobo, how familiar are you with the Harry Potter series up to this point?
Very familiar. Like, I mean, even though
choice?
Yeah, even when I wasn't a fan of them, I did watch all of them because, you know, I'm a believer in if you're going to hate something, you at least know what you hate. And I didn't like them when they first came out, especially the first ones with when they were kids and just. But I wasn't I'd never read the book, so I never got into it when it first came out. So I didn't have that same kind of magic that people do. But I have rewatched them recently as well, and in the later ones more so than the earlier ones. I did find myself liking a lot of stuff in it.
Oh, yay!
Yeah.
Yay.
I wouldn't say
He's converted.
I like them. I don't know. But I definitely see it's built a really nice universe. I think that's the thing I'll give it credit for. But yeah.
Because I'd never read a book before seeing any of these films.
Really?
No, I remember.
It sounds like you said, I've never read a book before.
Yeah.
Can't spell.
No, I remember my parents going to see... When's the first one? Is that about year 2000? 2001?
I think a bit around that time. I'm not sure of the releases because I was quite young myself when they came out.
So I was about, I think, between 17 to 19... And I remember my parents being like, we're going to see Harry Potter. And I was like, fuck Harry Potter. That sounds like the biggest pile of shit ever. I'm not going to watch that. And then when it came out on DVD, they were like, watch it, it's magical. And I was like, oh, I'll give this a go. And by the end, I was like, this is magical. And I was like,
were you crying?
Yeah, absolutely buzzed off it.
Was this the moment in your personal timeline where you turned from an edgy teen to like just the lovable Cham that we know?
I don't think I ever was an edgy teen.
You were like, yeah, fuck off, Harry Potter, double fingers.
Yeah, maybe then. Maybe it warmed my heart.
I'm too cool for school.
And then you watched it and went, I want to go to that school.
Yeah. But so, like, a lot of people, I think, say, especially people maybe in the 30s, are like, oh, I didn't get into the books, so I never got into the films. I'm like, I don't see why you have to have been into the books to have gotten into the films, because people get into films.
No, I just meant because I didn't read the books, I wasn't bothered about when it came out. So I didn't see the first few when they first came out. I only saw them like afterwards. So I was already a bit old, but then I was even older by the time I watched them. And that's definitely the type of thing where if you're growing up with the actors in it, it's a lot more, you got a lot more, what is it?
Investment?
Yeah.
I think I did that pretty much. Then that was sort of my era. I know I'm only a couple of years younger than you guys, but I got the books read to me when I was little. And then I continued to read them when I could read a bit better. And then I went and saw the films. I remember queuing up at midnight for releases and dressing up, and it was really exciting.
I remember getting sent to Waterstones by an ex to go and pick up on the release day and being stood outside and being like, I don't even fucking like this book. Like, wanting to get it. So you're a big Harry Potter fan.
Huge.
So moving past the Harry Potter original film franchise, how did you feel about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them as a film?
When it first came out, I was really angry because there was other things when it first got announced they were making it, because I was like, there's so many other things they could have done with that universe. Like, I originally wanted to see what happened when the Chamber of Secrets was originally opened. So, like, seeing Voldemort as Tom Riddle at Hogwarts. And I thought that would have been a really interesting sort of movie to go on, like, to follow. But then when I found out more and more about it, and then, like, reading all the connections through all the films, like, obviously hearing, like, spoiler, but Lestrange and things like that in Fantastic Beasts, it's just really exciting.
Yeah.
You know what I found interesting, because I did research a bit of this beforehand, and I think I would have been more on board if I went with this. The original plan before J.K. Rowling wrote the script for Fantastic Beasts, because they were just basing it on the book, they were going to do it like a documentary style. So it was following Newt like round with a camera or in some way. Yeah. And then J.K. Rowling was like, nah, I'll write you a story. There's a story here. So
there's going to be 5 of them.
Yeah. She's got things planned out. I mean, I don't necessarily like her writing style, but she's got things planned out.
But this universe can go on and on. There's so much you can explore.
It will. It's got to, hasn't it? There'll be a film series about Ron's magical car, and it'll be like the old TV show Brum, and that little blue car will go off on an adventure, and you're like, oh my god, he's bumped into another car.
There's because I wrote notes for this and everything,
Nice.
And one of my points with this is like I know more about like people's family trees in Harry Potter than I know my own. And that's what I mean by there's so much they can explore with this. And they could do a story about Ron and his car and it'd be amazing.
I'd really like to see them go forward though. I'm getting really fed up of franchises always going back.
Prequels.
It's always prequels. And it takes away the edge, because if Grindelwald, his big plan was to destroy the world, we know that's not going to happen. If he wants to destroy Hogwarts, we know that's not going to happen. If he wants to kill Dumbledore, we know that's not going to happen as well. And I just think, why not move forward where we don't know, we don't have any expectations, and look into what could happen?
Well, it could be like, you know, Harry's kids at Hogwarts, like his son Albus, I think it is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And all them at school.
Well, isn't that what that play's about? The
Cursed Child.
Have you seen it?
No, I really want to.
It's so expensive though, isn't it?
It's part 1 and part 2 as well, so you have to spend 2 nights in London to do it. Or 1 night if you're going to see it in the morning and afternoon.
So back to the Crimes of Grindelwald then. So where do we find Newt at the beginning of this film? What's...
Well, we open with them transporting Big G.
Yeah, the escape. Are you just not going to say...
It's Big G, isn't it?
Big G,
Well, what's his first name? I can call him by his first name.
Gellert Grindelwald.
I'm not going to call him Gellert.
Set in 1927.
Is Gellert a popular name in 1927?
I don't know. A big double G.
So it starts with his prison break. So he's not in Azkaban, is he? He's in the American Ministry of Magic, isn't he?
Makusa.
And they've taken his tongue away from him because he's such a charming wordsmith that he can get people to do what he wants.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the opening, the escape?
I loved it.
Yeah?
I just thought it was amazing. Just that whole scene, 'cause usually with Harry Potter films, obviously I'm doing it again. I keep comparing both Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts. But with the first 2 Fantastic Beasts, they've opened with something big happening. So obviously you see that big explosion happen right at the start of the first one, and seeing that big scene where they're flying in the air and you got the wizards on the brooms like escorting, and it was just really cool.
Wasn't it one of those carriages where it's carried by the horses that you can only see if you've seen someone die in front of you or something?
Oh yeah, that Luna Lovegood talks about in one of the...
What are they called again?
Gosh, I can't remember the name of them.
Yeah, they look like it though, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they're meant to be, the dead carriages. But yeah, big set piece.
I know this is probably quite a big question to throw out there straight away. Are you a Colin Farrell or a Johnny Depp Grindelwald?
I like them both.
Yeah, I do.
They both played their characters really well. So obviously, when Colin Farrell was playing Grindelwald, he had to lay low and not show himself to be Grindelwald, and he played that character really well. But then obviously Grindelwald is that really smooth, charismatic guy, and you see more of that in this, which is what I really loved. And he didn't do that weird, you know how, because I do like Johnny Depp as an actor, I absolutely love him, but he does make it his own, and he always goes just a bit too far, like with how Tim Burton obviously must direct him because he's in every Tim Burton film. So it was good to see him, although he has played an odd character again, it was good to see him, you know, actually seem like he's taking lessons from directors and like taking notes from directors, and it wasn't his own. This
was definitely a more toned down Johnny Depp performance.
And
it's
it was
probably
really
the best
good.
I've seen him in a long time, not hamming it up so much. What are you thinking over there, Hobo?
No, I was agreeing. I went in not wanting to like Johnny Depp in this film. You're hiding behind your pop filter. Not wanting to, because it's hard to separate the man from his sort of actions and all the stuff. But yeah, like individually as an actor, like he was pretty solid in this. He was the most grounded element in it, which is surprising given the look of him. He doesn't. It's a weird balance I think they've gone for in this film. They've given him like a villain look, kind of like the equivalent of a scar across your face, and because he's got a weird eye, he's got bleached blonde hair and beard,
riding boots.
Yeah, but what they're actually going for is he's meant to be this persuasive talker, this sort of everyman that will easily talk people around. It just seems a bit of a weird,
the people's person.
Yeah, which it feels like Colin Farrell's look would have worked better for what they were going for in this film, and Johnny Depp's look in this film would have worked better for Colin Farrell in the first film because he was more evil. It just seems a weird, But
I love Colin Farrell. I could watch him in anything. So I must say I was disappointed because I think maybe in the first one it would have worked more if it was a lesser known, like, jobbing actor who'd come in, played this role, and then revealed himself to be Johnny Depp. But I was almost like, can't you go back to being like, if someone was like, you can watch a film where the lead villain is Colin Farrell or Johnny Depp, I'd be like, Colin Farrell every day. I absolutely love him. So that was a bit of a disappointment. So going into this, I definitely had low expectations, but I thought he was perfectly passable. He did his job. Would you say it was his film?
No, it definitely wasn't.
Whose film is this?
That's
In the first one is definitely Newt's film. The second one, I don't know, because there's so much happening.
So there's a lot with Queenie, not much with Pop and Tina.
There's a lot with Lita Lestrange. I have no idea whose film this is.
So, I mean, after that, the starting is just that Newt is trying to get his travel access back so he can travel about.
Because of Brexit.
Brexit, yeah. The 1920s version of Brexit.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just trying to get back into different countries so he can save his animals, and he gets drawn into this wizarding war.
What did you think of his case this time round as well? Because obviously when he goes into his case...
Oh, okay.
And obviously you see it the first time, you think, oh, that's amazing. And then they've sort of upgraded his case. He got
I thought you meant like the design of his case.
No,
like,
the inside.
What do you mean?
It was like a Pimp My Ride reboot.
what his case this time? Did they go into his case? He had a house, didn't he, with that lady and the...
Yeah, it was in his case.
When did they go into the case?
Wait,
in this
the
one?
house was in his case?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, then it showed the outside of his house, didn't it?
Yeah,
but
then
he's
in his case.
In his case, doesn't he?
He's got an outside in his case.
You know, from the first one where he's walking on different lands, like there's a desert one for the Thunder Eagle.
So he just keeps that woman in his case?
What woman?
Well, no, she can escape. Well, not escape. She can
escape. Yeah, see? He's locked her away.
It's fine, they're not a prisoner. They can escape,
whenever they want, yeah.
Whenever they're strong enough.
When they pass the tests.
So wait, why would you put a front of your house inside? That's just an extra door to go into.
He's got like big things everywhere, and then he's built a house inside that case.
Why?
So he's kind of like, imagine in the TARDIS, the Doctor builds like a play tent or something. He's just done that. Like, I don't know how better to describe it. But the house is pretty
it's a
fantastic.
nice house.
Yeah, it's a cool house. It just reminds me of I keep doing this in Harry Potter when Hermione has that charm on her bag. She's like pulling out like books and things like that, and she's like, "There's a tent in my bag."
Well, it reminded me of the Order of the Phoenix, where is it Order of the Phoenix where you first see the house of the Order open up out of those row of terrace, but they did it better.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I was like, when he went to the outside of that house, I was like, "Ooh, what's going to happen?" And nothing.
It was a case.
It reminds me in Harry Potter. I don't have one. You two both had one. I just
wanted to join
I thought one might come to me if I said the words.
Gryffindor.
Hufflepuff.
Ravenclaw.
Oh gosh.
Well, right at the beginning, we've got Newt back. We know about Grindelwald, and then we get some of the familiar faces back. We get Queenie and Jacob back. What did you think about the weird little introduction? I mean, I've said my opinion of Jacob and Queenie with this enchantment spell.
It was. I just liked all of it. There wasn't anything I faulted in this film. So I'm probably like a really bad judge on this. But I really liked it because obviously she really likes him and she's never seen a muggle before. And she's got him under a charm spell, which you learn about in the Harry Potter film. So it's like there's a lot of connection there where they're trying to familiarize you with that magical world. And having him under that spell was really interesting because obviously, muggles and wizards, can't sort of be together. So she's got him under that spell so that they can get engaged and have kids.
Do you think he needed to be under a spell, though? He's quite smitten with her, even at the end of the first one when he sees her and the kind of intention that it's coming back to him.
Remembers,
he feels that scar on his neck.
He loves her, but he knows the consequences of what would happen if obviously they did get together.
So she date rapes him.
Pretty much. She roofies him.
That is what I was thinking. I was thinking, how would this play if it was the other way round, where the kind of schlubby, overweight guy put a spell on this attractive young lady to make her love him?
Do you reckon
probably won't go down
it's only fine because it's an attractive woman with a chubby overweight guy?
Yeah, maybe. And maybe that's not right either. It made me uncomfortable, anyway.
What a thoughtful question to go into a break. Is this right?
Yeah. Well, listeners, if you want to just take a moment and think about this, and we'll come back.
If you've ever done this, think about your life choices.
So see you in part 2 for more Crimes of Grindelwald.
Oh, hey there, Hobo. What did you draw last week?
I drew a blue dog last week.
Well, that's very good.
Okay, so welcome back to part 2 of this Fantastic Beasts podcast. So I think we should pick up where Newt Scamander is. So Hobo, have you seen the first film?
I have seen all the films.
So how would you describe where we pick up with Newt?
He is chatting to some wonderful folk at some policing thing.
Laura, how would you describe it?
He wants to travel. Some policing folk don't want him to travel. What's it? Ministry of Magic?
The Ministry of Magic.
They don't want him to travel because even though he's saved New York, he's a menace.
But they're like, it's fine to save it, but if you've destroyed half of it first, that's not great.
But he didn't destroy half of it first.
Yeah, but he was there, wasn't he? Guilty by association.
Exactly. So what's surely they know. Surely on top of... Well, they do have ways to look at people's memories from the Harry Potter films. So they could just take out a memory and be like, oh yeah, he only did good. Let's not be dicks.
We really can't get into picking it apart because it would all fall apart. The amount that they evaporate to different places, and then other times when it doesn't suit the story, they don't. Like when the circus gets attacked and they're all like, ah, and like running away. I'm like, just clear off.
Yeah,
you've got a wand.
Evaporate.
Yeah, off you go. So yeah, he's at the ministry. We meet his brother.
Yep.
Seems like a nice chap. I don't think we're supposed...
Theseus?
Yeah.
I could never say his name.
But I don't think we're supposed to like him, but I did.
Yeah.
It's because he's with Lita Lestrange.
Is that why we're not supposed to like him?
Yeah, so Newt has a photo of her in the first one, and they were really good friends at Hogwarts. And Theseus is now soon to be married to her. And that's like Newt's high school sweetheart.
Yeah, but his brother seems nice. He wants to get him a job. He hugs him.
The thing
looks
about
good in a suit.
Lita Lestrange, though, is that she once dated Matt Hardy, but then she left him for Jeff Hardy.
Right.
And then they had a TLC match. Or am I mixing up my Litas?
Is that a wrestler?
Yeah, so it's a wrestler.
I do like Lita, actually.
Sorry, where were we going with that? I just wanted to make a wrestling.
So his brother wants him to be an aura, and then Dumbledore comes in. So our first time of seeing Dumbledore as a young man, played by Jude Law. Mm-hmm. What did you think of Jude Law as Dumbledore? Oh, that rhymed.
Jude Law as Dumbledore. Great.
Yeah, I loved him.
I watched an interview with him, and he said that he was advised not to watch the Harry Potter films to try and act like how the actor who was the actor that played Albus Dumbledore, because there were two, wasn't there?
There's Michael Gambon
and then Richard Harris.
Richard Harris is the one who died, and then there's Michael Gambon after
definitely felt more Gambon.
Yeah. There's just like little quirky things he did. So when he sort of gives Newt the idea that he needs his help, doesn't actually tell him outright. He sort of puts it in his head, and that's what Dumbledore does. And the way he just sort of goes bye and walks off, and that's so Dumbledore. Like, we don't know him, but we go, that's so you. Oh you.
No, it's not.
Albus.
I agree. I like the interpretation here, and I didn't want to. Again, I saw him as Dumbledore, and I was like, That's just putting Jude Law in the role because it's Jude Law.
Oh, I love Jude Law.
He's so great.
I'm often a fan of just trying to get more unknown actors, and especially for big roles that have already been... Not saying that no other person can come in and do a role, but when you've already got such a great role, why not give it to an unknown? So,
but you say that, though, but what is Jude Law in? I feel like he's someone who's got a big name, but actually isn't in that many films. He's not someone who's popping up left, right and centre.
Plays Watson in the Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I'm sure the last one of those was about 8 years ago, though.
He was in, what was it? A really good film, Closer, with Clive Owen.
Yeah, again, that's probably about 12 years old.
He was in The Young Pope recently, TV series.
Right, so he's been on TV, but film-wise, he's not actually...
rom-com The Holiday?
Yeah, that's probably 15 years old. We're talking films like 10 years ago when he was at his height. So I was really happy to see a bit of a Jude Law resurgence. I thought he did a great job. I thought he looked really good. I overheard people talking the other day about how at what point did he stop wearing these dapper suits and just start wearing pajamas to work, basically?
He's an old man. Think about it. How old is he, do you reckon, in this?
Oh, well, isn't he 150 odd in the end? Yeah. So he must be like 75, I'd say, in this?
In this?
Maybe 60?
I'd say he's in his 50s at least. 50s, 60s, yeah.
He's meant to be in his 50s?
Yeah.
No, I'm guessing. I'm not quite sure. But then, obviously, the Harry Potter films were set in like the 90s.
Right.
Well, I thought it was 2000s.
Yeah, I think the first one's in 2000, so we're talking 75 years ago. So yeah, 50s, 60s might be about right.
Oh,
yeah.
He's looking good.
But I mean that's a good
Gilf.
point where
Wilf, a wizard I'd like to fuck.
Is your mum still listening? Oh, damn it.
Sorry, Mum.
I don't think there's anyone in the Harry Potter universe that dresses as well as Newt Scamander does and all his mates.
He dresses amazingly. He looks so dapper. Good coat,
I know a lot of them are kids, so they're not meant to dress well, and maybe teachers aren't, but then other people in the Harry Potter universe, surely there's someone who dresses not like name one person in the Harry Potter universe that dresses.
I like the way Jacob dresses. He's just not a wizard. He's a muggle.
Who's
Jacob Kowalski?
Who's Jacob Kowalski?
The guy who goes out with Queenie.
Yeah, but no, he's still a guy from Fantastic Beasts rather than Harry Potter.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, everything in the Harry Potter universe, it's all loose, baggy clothes.
Yeah, but it's just like real life. If you look back at like pictures of your granddad, he'll be wearing a suit every day. And then you look at everyone rocking Primark t-shirts and stuff nowadays. People did look better back in the day.
I wear suits. It's made out of rat skin, but it's a suit.
Filch wears a suit.
True. But his is grimy and not looked after.
But he's the caretaker. Hagrid looks quite smart. I know he's scruffy.
No, he doesn't.
He wears like a big coat, and then he has that little waistcoat, and he has a little shirt as well, and he has a little pocket watch that's like really small, and he's always looking at it.
It just feels like wizards only deal in hand-me-downs. Like, Hagrid's still got hand-me-downs from his parents, and so they were smart once, and then
he was bigger than his parents. He could pick his dad up when he was 5.
Oh yeah, he was. I feel like we've gone off
Sorry.
the topic of the film. There is loads to talk about with this franchise, though. But Newt has now gone to, on the advice or slight push from Dumbledore, he's gone to Paris, and this is where we get Tina back into the film as well. Remind me why Tina's in Paris.
She's been re-enlisted as an Auror. And she's also very angry at Newt because she thinks that he's engaged to Lita.
Yeah.
Because she was aware of her at the end of the last one. But actually it was just a misread in the paper, or they mistyped it. So she's really angry, and he's also found out that she's dating at the moment from Queenie.
This is one of the bits where, even though you love every part of it, you mentioned this bit you didn't like, didn't you? Where the fact that easily could have been fixed by when they first meet, him going, yeah,
he
I'm not
holds
married.
it off for a long time.
But then I like that
He's
in
socially
the
awkward,
end, because he is, I was going to say, he's so awkward.
Yeah.
So I let them off for that. They're allowed.
You had an initial bit of anger when you
Yeah.
first... I remember when you mentioned it to me. It's like, whoa, I thought you loved the film.
I do.
One of the things that's been labelled at this film is about having too many characters and not enough time to focus on them. And actually, as we're talking this through, I'm thinking, yeah, God, we haven't even talked about
Too many cooks.
Credence. We've not
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about Lita very much. We've not talked about the gentleman who turns up, the Frenchman who turns up, who's Lestrange.
The Auror that's working for the Ministry of Magic, but is also working for Grindelwald. I can't remember that person.
Is it the guy
the-
that Tina follows, and he kidnaps her?
Yeah, and they get locked up
And
in that prison.
Spoiler alert, he's related to Lita, isn't he?
Yeah, because he's a Lestrange, isn't he? Oh, yeah. No, he isn't, is he? Because he's related to the mother, and it's the dad who's Lestrange, who's related to
But
Corvus.
there's still half-brother. Corvus is Credence.
But isn't Credence, because
Isn't
Corvus
Credence.
died on that boat.
So there's a throwaway. So because the Lestranges are meant to be like one of the old houses, the old bloodlines of magic.
Yeah, so they have their own crest, which is awesome, and they are related very kind of basically to the Blacks as well.
Okay.
So there's like a very close
Sirius Black and all that from them. And they think Credence is related to them because he's so powerful as a doodah. That's originally.
Because of that book, isn't it? That's supposed to be like a series of poems, is it?
Yeah, it's almost like prophecies and things like that, which you see Nicholas Flamel talk about.
Yeah, we got Flamel back in.
Massively mentioned in the Harry Potter series.
And he's got the Philosopher's Stone in his cupboard as well. That made me slightly excited.
It's things like that get you really giddy. Like in the first one, when Grindelwald, when it was Colin, good old Colin,
Col.
he had the Deathly Hallows necklace, and I was like, that's a Deathly Hallows necklace. And I got really excited
because he gave it to Credence, didn't he?
Yeah.
And they didn't really come back at any point, which was weird.
Yeah,
He was supposed to touch it, wasn't he?
touch it close to his heart. But it's just exciting seeing things like that. So seeing the Philosopher's Stone and hearing and seeing Nicholas Flamel, you're like, oh my gosh, I know that guy.
So, right, I'm struggling this is what happened when I was watching the film. I was struggling to know, one, find out what is happening, and then two, why I care about what's happening. And it was like, they thought Credence was a powerful bloodline, but then he wasn't, because that was a switcheroo, wasn't it? Because they went to look up the history of
They didn't
Lestranges.
think he was a powerful bloodline. They just knew he was powerful because he's an obscurial,
But I
so
thought
he's
they
been
thought
hiding his magic.
He was the baby that did die but didn't in the end. You know, the Lestrange one.
Yeah, that's
They
like
thought that
discovered at the
originally,
end.
Yeah. So then that's when he's like, he doesn't know what he is. And then that's why there's the reveal at the end.
But there's still loads of ifs and buts on this, and there's obviously 3 more films to get through.
I really hope so. Big, massive spoiler alert. Yeah, so Credence is a Dumbledore. I really hope they don't backtrack on that, because as some people have been a bit disappointed that he is a Dumbledore, but I'm like, if you're going to drop such a big bomb like that, don't bottle it and go back later. I'm like, explore it. And
they're definitely going to backtrack on that.
They better not.
Because
how do you know?
Guy who was working for Grindelwald, who was meant to be an Auror, he purposely killed Credence's, the one who gave him up for adoption, the woman, the carer, because she was going to say who Credence really was. And he was sent. I thought that was like what that purpose was, because there's no reason why he would kill that woman except the fact that
she knows the truth.
She knows the truth, and he doesn't.
So there's a lot of, is he a Dumbledore? Is he a Lestrange? Is he,
Yeah, I don't know about the Lestrange thing, but it sounds like from what I remember in the film, it seemed pretty sure that they'd ruled out he was a Lestrange, but I thought it was quite obvious that everything Grindelwald did in that film, he was essentially just talking. He's all talk and no sort of nothing to follow up.
So why would the Phoenix come to him then?
That I don't know. Again, that was like and I imagine maybe if I watched it again, I'd see there's probably a little. It's just something he's able to control. I've maybe missed, but the setup of it seemed really like there's more, and that's why I was really confused by the ending. It felt like a middle part of the story where...
Yeah, this felt like Deathly Hallows 1.
Yeah.
Like we're getting to something.
Well, it's taken 2 films to introduce you to all the characters and to get familiar with them. So,
but that is one complaint I've got about this part of the franchise, is that after 2 films, not that much has happened.
Well, Grindelwald is sort of... He did that part in like a little arena or whatever it was, where he's like, join me if you want to or you don't. And then obviously... yeah,
that was a nice touch with the World War II, saying that's what the
that
Muggles
was amazing.
are going to...
Yeah. And then Queenie obviously steps through it because she wants to be with Jacob. And just seeing that, I thought that was a good part. Like, that was sort of getting towards the end, and I thought that was really good.
I thought she was very easily coerced.
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere, right?
I felt like that needed more, even just a scene, one more scene in there with her and him. Because then at the end, she was almost like his little advisor when she was saying about Credence, just leave him.
And that one scene where Credence first holds a wand and he like breaks the window. Oh
yeah.
What I feel that J.K. Rowling was going for here, and you can get it, and it's honourable. The fact of obviously setting it in the time that it did is sort of the rise of fascism, and the fact that you're slowly led to these leaders that aren't proper, and it's very relevant to what's happening today. But I feel the execution was horrible. Like, why would you make it? Surely, if you really want to hammer that point home, you don't make it, again, what I was saying about Johnny Depp's image and everything they set him up as like a bad guy, where what they did in the first one was better, where it was Colin Farrell, where everyone trusted this person. And he just kept, in the first one, he just kept dropping these bits where it's like, it's for the greater good and stuff like that. And it was much more sinister and underhanded.
But then Queenie is that type that would be easily led, I think. She isn't much of a career girl. She just makes teas and coffees. She's at home. Crazy? I think she's at home most of the time. And obviously she says in the first one that Tina's the working girl. So I think she just wants to be a housewife really badly.
But then she knows people's thoughts, so she should be able to see like Grindelwald's inner desires.
No, I imagine he's too powerful for her to read.
And if he knows that she can read as well, he's going to be very careful.
Because he's a seer, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he can see the future, or...
Is he? Grindelwald?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. I completely missed
I don't think it's explicit in the film.
Oh.
I don't think they actually say that.
So I was nodding. I just realised we're not...
I think that's just something
How do you two know?
I think that's just something I've heard or read somewhere.
That's terrible.
I know, it's not good enough, is it?
One of the things, because I watched loads of interviews, I didn't actually watch many trailers for this because I just didn't want to spoil it, because the trailer I did see, it looked like that Newt's brother was a bad guy in it. It looked like Lita was a really bad person in it as well. And they turned out not to be, so I thought that was really good. But I saw an interview with J.K. Rowling, and she said that she's made Grindelwald completely different to Voldemort, whereas Voldemort would unnecessarily kill. And Grindelwald, is intelligent.
But again...
and thinks about his kills.
This is the point where the approach they were going for with Colin Farrell seemed more appropriate for what she was saying there. That seems... And then it just feels like because they wanted a twist at the end of the first one, they had to make him look different and make him look evil, which is fair enough, but then he continued trying to be a lovable character where he was also being very particularly villainous, like in a cartoony
do you think
way.
You can hold me?
Yeah. He went from believable villain to cartoony villain, but still trying to set this cartoony villain in a very serious setting.
I didn't get the cartoony villain in the second one. I got it at the end of the first one.
Yeah, but I watched the first one before going to see the second one, and he revealed that he was Johnny Depp, and he was doing that weird thing that Johnny Depp does in all these films now, where every syllable is he makes a W with his mouth, and he does this weird he never used to do it. If we were live streaming it, but he never used to do it when he was Edward Scissorhands or anything. But then when he went into doing, I don't know if that's how he gets himself into his British accent, but he does this weird mouth movement, and he was doing it at the end of the first one, and he stopped doing it in this one. I was so happy.
That's what I was saying. I think he took more of the director's advice in this. David Yates probably just went, "No, I'm not having any of your shit. You're doing it how we want to do it, or you're not going to be in it."
Well, one thing I'd like to talk about as well is, because I know we're getting towards the end. The film's called Fantastic Beasts. What did you think of the Fantastic Beasts?
Oh my God. I think a lot of it was done for the franchise. So seeing all the baby equivalents of everything in the second
baby
one.
Nifflers.
The
Oh my
Nifflers
God.
were so cute. I really want one. I'm holding my hands to my face because I love them so much.
I love that the Niffler saved the day as well.
Yeah.
And went and got the little amulet.
Did you see him with his little... I'm now doing paw movements. You know when he hurts his paw?
Yeah.
Because I've got a dog, obviously, Arnold. And when he's hurt his paw in the past, we talked about this as well, Hobo, when you were saying, they make animals look the characteristics of a cat or a dog to make them more lovable. And seeing the little Niffler with his little limp, and he's like, ow, look at this.
If you look at this is something, it just sort of clicked. I don't think it was with Fantastic Beasts, but it was something we was watching. And if you look at any film with animals in it, regardless of the animal, they'll make them act more like a dog than maybe that animal normally would, because that's the way to make you like that animal. Make it act like a dog to like it, regardless of the animal.
But
and
it saved the day.
It did save the day.
We didn't even mention that blood pact which stops Dumbledore fighting Grindelwald.
Oh yeah, that was really interesting. And that's what the Niffler stole, the little brooch thing, clip thing, which is why Dumbledore couldn't obviously go against Grindelwald at that point.
He's just chilling.
I know a lot of people have complained about the lack of character building between those two and the lack of building of their relationship. I was okay with it. It would have been nice to have seen them in some kind of embrace, or...
You're going to see a lot more of them in the next... Do you want a spoiler?
No.
Oh,
but I
okay.
feel like that's coming. I feel like that will be on its way. I thought the way they did it was quite touching at the moment. And again, I mean, with no characters, I don't want to see anyone being and tonguing each other or anything.
I have one more question. I don't know if you were going to ask it. There was a lot of talks about, obviously, the whole, is Dumbledore gay? And, did he actually love Grindelwald? What was your views on that?
Tongue Grindelwald's bum? Is that
yes.
Is that the question? Did
a wizarding tongue bomb?
Wizarding tongue bomb. That sounds like some kind of spell.
I bet Catty would know what sex position that is.
Licky anus.
I think we've got a title for a film. The podcast.
It's a weird one because I kind of feel like Dumbledore might have loved Grindelwald, but Grindelwald was using him and being charming.
Manipulating him.
Yeah. But equally, Dumbledore's quite manipulative and
did
gets
it to
people.
Harry and Newt,
So maybe double-crossed him and...
Double-crossed him.
Yeah, but then I imagine that either way, whether one of them's double-crossing or the other one's double-crossing...
Stop!
That there probably was some love there.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Tongue bum love.
Yeah. Yeah, all kinds of love.
What is, just a quick question, just like maybe a yes or no, is Grindelwald... like his lineage, an old lineage like Dumbledore's and the Lestranges, do you know? Is it even mentioned?
What, the Dumbledores or the Grindelwalds?
The Grindelwalds.
I'm not quite sure, actually. There's a lot they like to reveal, and there's quite a lot they keep secret as well.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was one of those.
I read updates on Pottermore.
So what did we think of the film? Laura, you go first, because I think we know.
I don't know, guys. It's a real tough one.
So just to remind... Did you think it was spoilt milk or a luxurious cheese?
Cheese. Cheese all the way.
Can you sum up why you thought it was a cheese?
I say it to a lot of people when I talk about the differences between the Harry Potter universe and the Fantastic Beasts universe. And it's the Harry Potter one was quite childish, as much as I loved it. And I feel like Fantastic Beasts is more grown up, and it feels like I've grown up with it. And I like the characters, I like the setting. I can go on about this forever. Just looking in the background of any Harry Potter or Fantastic Beasts film, there's like a dish washing itself, a book opening in the bookcase, and that's just in the background. And there's so much happening, and I just love it.
Would you say this is like your Star Wars? You know, the people who talk about Star Wars and talk about how they grew up with it, and there's a droid in the background, or a droid that makes this noise, or whatever.
Yeah, I'm that. Definitely. There's just, like, I wrote so much on my notes and I haven't even spoken about half of them because I could go on and on about this forever. So yeah, I love it.
Hobo.
This is just a mess. I feel they've taken the goodwill that the franchise has and just been a bit free with it, in the sense where they've done a lot of stuff which is expanding the universe, which is good, but they've forgotten that at the end of the day you still need to have a workable solo movie. That's my number one gripe of any, even franchises that I love, where they will not treat their middle film like it's its own film.
Like Two Towers.
Yeah, and I just don't get behind it. And this was an extra betrayal of just the fact that I honestly didn't know who I was following, why I was caring about them. And I thought everything was either ham-fisted or heavy-handed in what they were trying to do. If this wasn't the Harry Potter franchise and they put out this film, it would have been like the Mummy reboot or anything like that, where it was just trying to do the next one's still coming. So these are all your teasers, where I just wanted a complete film. I'm happy with all the teasers, and I especially rewatching the Harry Potter films, I'm happy with the universe, but I still need a film that I can watch from start to finish and know why I care about a particular character and why these other people. And it just felt like and now this.
Watch the next three and then...
No, because this is... even if the next three are great, and I say, yeah, in general, this will still be a black mark in that, because I feel like it just failed as being a film.
I feel like I need to watch it again myself, but I still love it.
Yeah. Was it a serious black mark?
No, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to look him in the eye.
Is he being very Lestrange?
Yeah, don't go to Laura. All headphones are off. So what are you saying?
Spoilt milk.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh, well, I definitely think it's a luxurious cheese. I'm kind of in agreement with you though, Hobo. It is a mess. I feel like there's a 2.5 hour version of this film that makes more sense. Even I remember watching the trailer and seeing the bit where Jacob says to Nicholas Flamel, it's something like, you don't look a day over 375 or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's obviously like a response to a line that he said. And I was like, oh, he'll say something like, I'm 450. And he'll be like, you don't look a day over 375 or something. And I was like, that'll happen in the film. And then in the film, it didn't do that either. And I was like, oh, that's just a really weird punchline to a joke that's not happened.
Jacob is the comedy guy in there, isn't he? He's sort of the one that everyone bounces off for the comedic
people
effect.
weren't setting him up. And that line was just there. And I was like, oh, that's really odd. And I do think that J.K. Rowling needs somebody to rein her in a bit on her scripts. And it's weird because I'm asking for a longer version and then her reining in. I feel like someone needs to look at what she's doing and saying, this isn't how a film works. This might be fine for a book, but this isn't how it works.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't much on certain things that people had questions about, like Nagini, for instance, being in this, in her human form.
Again, loads of characters.
There's just loads in this. But then I find the difference is, as a huge fan of the franchise, I was more in the loop about things. Whereas the Hobo isn't, so he was a bit more confused. Yeah. And I found that with everyone that has gone to see it. People that are into the franchise are like, oh yeah, this is exciting because I know this because I read it on Pottermore and I've read this and I've read that. Whereas you going to see it as someone who isn't a massive fan, I understand that you have gotten lost in it.
But
and it shouldn't
if you compare
do that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
compare that to the Harry Potter films. They were great with.
That's what I mean. They were more childish. But if you read the books, like the Harry Potter books, they miss so much out of those books.
Yeah, but that's. I almost want J.K. to go back and write a book about this and find out all those little things that were missing from this. And then somebody to adapt that into a screenplay and make that a more zippy film. The
comparison of you saying this may work in a book but not in a film was when I watched the first Hobbit, and I hated the first Hobbit because it just feels like there was like about 3 or 4 Deus Ex Machinas in a row with Gandalf just coming in and saving the day. I was like, oh, I hated this. I can't believe it's because it'd been a while since I'd read the book in high school, and then someone went, this is like what happens in the book. I was like, didn't have any idea.
It doesn't matter, does it? You don't need that everything.
Yeah. But in a movie, you can't get away with the same things. It needs to be it needs to be tighter, and it needs to have a bit more sort of sense to it, because you can go off in all these threads with different characters in books. In a film, like you need to,
And it does concern me because you're saying it needs to. This film will make $1 billion, easy. But how much goodwill are people like Laura and I going to keep bringing to this to the point where we're going to say, no, actually, you need it to be better. But no, it's full of magic, full of wonder.
It met my expectations.
That Chinese lantern cat creature. I could have just watched that for 90 minutes.
Just
like, I loved it.
The little bell.
That was so good. So for now, it's still a luxurious cheese for me.
It gave us Fantastic Beasts. And Grindelwald and his crimes.
I feel if
he killed a kid. Jesus.
He killed a kid.
In like pretty much the first scene. Crazy. Right, so that's Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald.
Big G.
Big G.
Big G is a luxurious
Big double
cheese.
G, sorry.
Big double G.
Double G.
Dumbledore
See you next time for some tongue bomb. Hedwig's theme.
We're all out of tune.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast, you pieces of fucking shit.